Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, December 12th, which reminds me I need to schedule some videos today or I'm not going to air them on time. Let's see, we have a daily quest here that we can reroll to 50, obviously. And I never came in here and checked to see if this solo adventure was available. I didn't think it was going to be available tomorrow. I think it's going to be available the Tuesday coming up, if I was to guess. So we don't have to worry too much about that. We have Warlock, and then Major Shaman, and we have a Tavern Brawl. So let's see. What's today's Tavern Brawl? King Rusticon is cooking up the good stuff. Choose a class and enjoy the latest deck recipes, and we'll get this. So hop into Warlock, go into here, and we'll try and cover games and news as quickly as possible today. I did a couple of
you asked for it.
Your soul shall be mine.
Recorded a couple episodes of Borderlands 2, and yeah, we're just making progress. So discard the lowest card. Discard your lowest card. Draw a card, deal 2 damage to you. Deal. Let's trade this one. And let's trade this one. And let's hold on to this one. So we're ready to go. Borderlands 2, it's doing some slightly interesting thing in the Dungeons and Dragons DLC, but it really is just familiarity is breeding contempt as far as how much of the main gameplay mechanic I have experienced. It's really really pretty ridiculous. Just have too much time, and see, it's with great trepidation that I would suggest something like this, but it does kind of feel like the way that it seems to work for Borderlands as a series. It would have been better had they not released the DLC parts as DLC relatively within this first 6 months of the time it was released. Instead, it would have been better to have the DLC be its own separate content as a side story. I guess that kind of is what Borderlands pre-sequel is, but it didn't really work. Like, and to be fair, I'm not really sure that you would ever successfully have a situation where you could have released Borderlands 1, done kind of nothing for a year, and then released the Borderlands 1 DLC. And the Borderlands 1 DLC kind of needed to happen. There were major issues that were fixed as far as just having a max level. Let's see. But then they didn't really fix the max level limit in Borderlands 2 either until you had all of the DLC, so they still reinforced that same mistake. But there really isn't a ton to say about Borderlands 2 at this point. I'm mostly just playing it, just getting through it. It definitely doesn't feel like I'm stretching my video game critic muscles. I'm trying to kind of think about what is the next game that I'm going to cover And how is that going to work?
Unleash me.
Let's see. Start a random card. Like, because I definitely don't want to play like a first-person shooter game, so I'm gonna have to really think about what's something that's kind of AAA, or maybe I'm not even gonna do a AAA game. And it needs to definitely be something that goes back to 30-minute episodes, because that stretch, like throughout the course of 2018, I have just stretched and stretched and stretched for different reasons to have the game. Let's see. If this card is discarded,
Who dares summon me?
darn it. So
My hand is too full.
this one theoretically would potentially add a bunch of these back to my
Out
hand.
of my jungle.
Might be time to go back and play another Assassin's Creed game, but if I played an Assassin's Creed game, that would also probably be hour-long episodes.
Pain, speak to me.
Yeah, I have so reduced the amount of content I'm creating. It's pretty ridiculous. Alright, well, let's see what this does. Let's see. Well, it just returned. It returned the wrong one. It returned a version of this card that didn't have any of the buffering to it, so it didn't matter. Oh well. See, is there anything else really going on? Not so much. Not really. Someone tweeted out a picture, a game developer tweeted out a picture of what it looks like on Steamworks, the app admin, apparently, when you submit a game for release, and it says release progress. Follow the instructions and checklists below to prepare for release. For more details, see the preparing your release on Steam. And then it says for this picture, checklist complete.
You have made an unwise decision.
And let's see. Draw a card. Discard 3 cards. And just go ahead and play this too. So below checklist complete, it says your store presence. Your app is in the review queue. This review typically takes 2 to 3 days, and we will email you with feedback or approval. No further action is required until the review is complete. Note, your store page will need to go through a quick review prior to posting. Please allow 2 to 3 business days. And then in this case it says submitted December 12th, 2018. So if we get back to that story, if for any reason Steam is icing people out and not responding in the 2 or 3 days they promise, that's yet another example of Steam not following its own rules and lying. I don't want to get back to the story about Steam or a rogue employee inside of Steam stopping visual novels from and anime games from being on their storefront, because I don't think there's really any new news today besides that. This is just a small bit of corroborating evidence. there has been a rumored employee, I'll say, has rumored that they may address it pretty soon. But that's really just like, maybe they're not even an employee type thing, so who knows. Just gonna play this. But yeah, there's nothing else to really say about that until we get some real news. Unrelated, I also heard that Artifact is down by like 60% from its peak, according to SteamDB. So yeah, people are not happy about Artifact. No huge surprise in that case. So this toss. This. And this. Okay.
Feeble sword.
What do I want to do? Kill this guy. Kill this guy.
Feeble sword.
Kill this guy, I guess. And kill that guy.
Job done.
Let's see. I have 6 new tweets already. I'm just sticking on my Twitter feed. Yeah. End of the year 2018 Steam wishlist cleanup number 12. Game starting with the letter K aired 4 minutes ago on my channel. I don't know why I'm encouraging people to leave one stream for the other. I will say that views seem to be pretty low in December, and I don't know if that's because of November's content or October's content even. Could be anything, could be nothing. Let's see. This is ridiculous. So I want to win as a warlock, but I'm not sure I can actually win as a warlock. As I'm looking at this deck. Unless he's just gonna screw with me for some reason.
Hello.
Like,
I greet you.
that was a mistake. Let's see.
Do not fear power. Fear those who wield it.
Yep, not gonna get anywhere here. When you discard this, add 2 copies to your hand. Alright. I'm not talking much right now. I need to hop into this. So right now what I'm doing is I'm looking at a game called Maytroid, M-A-Y-T-R-O-I-D, period. I swear it's a nice game too. I'm fairly certain that there was a game that was already out. There was kind of this low effort troll game that had the phrase "I swear it's a nice game too" or something similar already on Steam. This game is tagged with sexual content and nudity. It kind of does look like it might have been a decent half idea for a Metroid game, but it's just, with its trailer, it's just locked into showing off, you know, anime characters in certain levels of undress.
Let the hunt begin. Your soul shall be mine.
But, like, the two ideas certainly don't mix together to make a game that is good to play. It's ridiculous. And see, it's a 30% off for $1.39. Let's look at this developer and see. Yeah, they had already made a game called Teleportals. I swear it's a nice game, for 49 cents, and another game called Yisa Deep Realms. So, with just the slight remembrance that people who seem to be able to put effort into games with sexual content and nudity are getting iced out and not allowed and censored off of Steam, seems like the low quality stuff still is being allowed. So this is not a attempt that is successful, even if it is being done by Steam or a rogue employee. It's not an attempt that's being successful at actually curating the content on Steam, not one bit. And honestly, this isn't as much of an issue as you might think that just popped up a few months ago. Like, Steam for the past couple of years has been swinging back and forth with, oh, you can't tell people that there's an uncensored patch. Oh, you can. Well, no, I don't think they ever said they can, but they've been getting this pushback for a long, long time. But I also want to be honest and fair here. I'm not going to be childish and ridiculous and reactionary and say, well, if Steam doesn't sell the anime sex games, then I'm off of Steam and going somewhere else, because honestly there's not anywhere else to go. Not unless, like, Nutaku decided to be a storefront and could get a lot of people on their storefront, which probably wouldn't happen. Let's see. Never use Summon the Beast, give it 1/1. But it's certainly, this incident in this dishonesty with Steam is certainly coloring my opinion of them in a more negative way. That being said, Epic's storefront still does not seem like it's a flashy finished product for a first impression. It feels like a lot more could have been done. Let's see.
Why do you call?
Discard 2 random cards, I guess. Let's see, we have a game on Steam called Hyborian Charter. It's almost looks like an art style here, but I really hate this user interface up at the top. Like, I could almost say, okay, this is a snow tile set game with a unique animation art style, and that these trees are kind of like a marker, thick black outline game. I don't hate this as an art style. I do hate the repetitive white tiles though. And honestly, what says it's a RPG adventure game? Doesn't look that good. $4.99 not discounted. Whenever you discard this, add 2 copies to your hand. Alright, well then let's do that.
From the void. Kyriek, grant me wings.
Let's see. What do we want to do? Kill this. And attack this, I guess.
Job done.
GameIndustry.biz has an article. China's new ethics committee has been reviewing existing titles. Waiting list for bringing games to China, quote, likely to be longer than expected, says an analyst at IHS Market warns. So yeah, I don't think I reported properly on that story. I think I said that 9 were sent back and rejected, and then 11 were allowed. When actually, of the 20 games that this new group in China, this ethics committee, looked at, all 20 were technically rejected. 11 were sent back for changes. 9 were rejected outright. And they were things like Fortnite and such. If the rumored Chinese translation is to be expected. So they were looking at games it seems like that they had heard of and that are very popular. Let's see. I can do this. Do this. And do that. TechRaptor has an article. Star Citizen's Crytek lawsuit might be coming to a close soon. Another chapter. Let's see what the reason. Oh, I remember. I saw the YouTuber copyright lawyer guy talk about this. So basically, Crytek. Star Citizen had a licensing agreement to use the Crytek engine. Then they decided they weren't going to use the Crytek engine, and then which is called the Cry engine. And then Crytek, the company, is trying to sue them and saying, no, you have to use the Cry engine, and you have to pay us the licensing fee for doing that. Which seems like a ridiculous agreement to uphold. That's not generally how contracts work. It's not that you have to do something, period. That's very one-sided and kind of unenforceable. It's you have to do something or you pay a fine, which is a lot more enforceable to say you're in breach of contract, thus you have to pay this huge payment. Apparently there was no huge payment there. Eventually Star Citizen went over to the Amazon's Lumberyard game engine, which I think might be based off the Cry engine. So this is a little inside baseball, and really there was just one judgment saying, no, that's not right. You can't force somebody to use an engine they don't want to use. See, as soon as this guy is silenced, though, there's kind of nothing I can do. Moving on, GameIndustry.biz has an article. Amy Hennig to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award. She is the former Uncharted franchise creative director and she was working on the Star Wars game like 1313 before that got significantly changed, last canceled. It's kind of a question, I suppose, who has already gotten Game Developer Conference awards and who hasn't, because it may be the fact that more deserving people have already gotten them, or it just may be the fact that they're giving Amy Hennig one because she's one of the most prominent female higher-ups in video games that there is. It is slightly questionable, in my opinion, whether she is old enough or has actually even achieved enough to get a Lifetime Achievement Award. Typically, in other industries, if you're giving out Lifetime Achievement Awards, it is in the tacit admittance that this person is never going to do anything else in their career successful. And that very well may be the case for Amy Hennig. So, yeah, she made Uncharted originally in 2007 for the PS3. So you're talking 11 years in the industry is her lifetime achievement, which is a sorry statement for the lifetime of the average video game developer. Let's see, I need this, so I'm gonna play this. And hit this. And play this. So the article goes on to say, however, her career in the industry goes back to the 80s with the Atari 7800. During the 16-bit era, she worked at Electronic Arts on titles like Desert Strike, Return to the Gulf, and Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City. After that, Hennig built her reputation at Crystal Dynamics as the writer and director for the acclaimed Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver franchise. Which, again, I guess she would be the person if THQ Nordic or some other company was going to reboot Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver franchise, which probably isn't going to happen. Hennig partnered with ways with Naughty Dog and rejoined EA at the Visual Game Studio to work on Star Wars game in 2014. So she kind of jumped around, which, in all honesty, I feel like she was not given a fair shake at all, but that's kind of what happened. Regardless. Let's see. Deal 4 damage.
Job's done.
It's probably not the one I wanted to have discarded, but whatever. So she was with Crystal Dynamics, and Crystal Dynamics did work with the Tomb Raider games in some part, but they're not even mentioning that part, so I'm not sure if she really did much. So, like, when you think, has Shigeru Miyamoto gotten a GDC Lifetime Achievement Award? Possibly, probably. One would hope. Has let's see, who else? Who else would be a great example? I discarded the wrong card.
Job's done.
Has the developer of Doom gotten a Lifetime Achievement? Like John Carmack, I think is his name. There's a lot of really old developers that, particularly at Nintendo and Sega, that could very well deserve Lifetime Achievement Awards, even if they're not super recognizable. Amy Hennig just seems a little too young, and it seems like this really is a nail in her coffin. Yeah. But whatever. Game Developers Conference doesn't really matter. Anyways. Let's see if I can search her name and see what games she worked on. Let's see, she's 54 years old. That's not really even the age, according to Wikipedia. That's not the age to be getting a Lifetime Achievement Awards. Let's see. Wow, GameIndustry.biz just copied directly, word for word, what it says on Wikipedia about her. Well, for some of the sentences at least. Oops, let's try again. See, Uncharted Drake's Fortune, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, Uncharted 4 Thief's End. She does seem like she bounces around way too much. But yeah, she did not work on any of the Tomb Raider games. That must be somebody else that I'm thinking about. And let's face it, I guess Uncharted is just a direct rip-off of the Tomb Raider series. Yeah. I just don't feel like the GDC awards have been running long enough that people, there's people in their 80s and 90s that should be getting the awards. You could go through a long list. You could give Reggie Fils-Aimé an award. If you're like limiting it down to game developers, you could still find a significantly small, a significantly longer list of older people to give a Lifetime Award for it. But then I guess it would also just backfire in the GDC's face if they created an award that's like Best Female Presence or Best Female Creative Director or something like that, and gave it to Amy Hennig just because they wanted to. Okay, I guess I don't want to stick with Warlock too much, so I'm going to try Priest, and at some point we need to play Mage and Shaman. So let's see. Mage or Token Shaman or Priest. There we go. I'm trying to think, is there a female older developer that would deserve a Lifetime Achievement Award? There's probably some from Atari that definitely, if they're assuming they're still alive, they may not have made so much or have so many credits to their name, but they would have been at the right age, certainly. Let's face it, Nintendo being a Japanese company in the 80s probably didn't hire too many women, or frankly just in the 80s in America I'm sure there weren't too many women being hired to be programmers anyways. So I'm trying to think like NES or a Sega Master System era like type developers. Something a little bit older.
There is little time.
The calm before the storm.
I think Rihanna Pratchett probably deserves it more with the King's Quest games. Those are older games.
Right away.
But yeah, there's certainly not a long list of female old enough to get a Lifetime Achievement Award developers.
That didn't go as...
Moving on though, because I'm just kind of meandering on this topic. We have a game on Steam called Animal Jam Play Wild. Let's see, it's a free-to-play game, early access. It doesn't look terrible for like a little kid's game. Question is, does it have microtransactions? Yes, it does, so forget that. It says it's an adventure simulation game. I'm not 100% sure what you really do as a gameplay mechanic.
Right away.
Next, we have a game on Steam called Wave Break. Let's see, let's make sure the mouse cursor's in the right place. So this is a Wave Rider clone, clearly, but it looks really good. And I think this was like mentioned by somebody in more of a hype article than it just came out on Steam. It's available 2019 to be announced. I've seen a couple of games on Steam and on my wish list like this. This might be better reviewed than a good replacement. In all honesty, I really only need like one Wave Rider clone in my life, if I even need that much. So yeah, I'll put it on the follow list and we'll see what happens. Let's see. I got linked to an article that links to like a local news story. Students at the University of Utah create therapeutic video games. I believe these are therapeutic video games for elderly people. But I don't think it really is anything really too important. The names of the games are like Volta, Split, Outpatient, The Night Shift, Archipelago, Panscapes. Really generic names. Not things that I think are going to come to Steam or have any anything like that happen to them. Alright, let's play this. And play this. And then
right
attack
away.
here. So this is like a video. The main part of this article is just showing video of the games. Well, no, video of the local news talking about the games, and sometimes they're showing video of the games, and they seem like they're decently made Unity or Unreal games. Not anything amazing. Inherently, I think there's some major stupidity with the idea that older people in particular are going to have the desire to play video games and understand how to play video games. You're kind of barking up the wrong tree there.
Meddlesome insects.
Let's see. Particularly if this is supposed to be for people, elderly people developing dementia, it's kind of ridiculous to try to get them to learn a learn a new system, a new game. The reason why you see so many old people playing like cards and dominoes and bingo is because that's the games they were playing when they were kids, or at least adults, middle-aged adults and such. They remember and know how to play those things. If you have to put an Xbox 360 controller in the hands of an elderly person, they're gonna not know what any of the buttons do. And let's face it, the Xbox 360 controller is a lot more complicated than even an old NES controller used to be. But there's a lot of buttons there. You have to basically understand things that are not taught to you about. The left stick moves you around and the right stick moves the camera. The A button usually causes you to jump. The right trigger causes you to shoot. These are industry standard things that we take for granted.
Is someone injured?
Let's go ahead and play this one.
You are not welcome here. Intruder.
Attack.
Beware the shadow.
Next, we have a game on Steam that I'm very excited to see come to Steam. We have Double Switch, the 25th Anniversary Edition. Double Switch is kind of like Night Trap, but it didn't get anywhere as much coverage as Night Trap because there wasn't congressional meetings over it. It's the same general idea. Full motion videos. People step on platforms and activate the traps, and then you as the player have to also activate the traps. So it's a double switch type idea, thus the name. Throughout the entirety of the story of the game, you're seeing this story happen, and at certain points it makes sense to trap the good guys. Sometimes it makes sense not to trap the good guys. Usually always makes sense to trap the bad guys. I loved playing this game like 20-30 years ago. I played it on PC, so much so that I wore out the CD. So like, this is top on my wish list. $15 is a great price for this too. It's probably not going to be a super long game by today's standards, but I missed an attack there. So yeah, I'd recommend, if you ever wanted to get into a full motion video game, Double Switch puts a different spin on it too, because you're timing based and interactive that way. Most full motion video games are just point and click adventures. You're prompted with a question and then you click the response. That's not how this works. So yeah, Double Switch. Check it out if you've never heard of it. And see, that this is also kind of one of those games that that I played that kind of nobody else played, so it's gonna, a lot of people are just not gonna say anything about it or mention it at all, I imagine. Attack to equal health. That really wouldn't do anything at this point. Kill this. Kill this. Attack here. Attack here. In the turn. Next we have a game on Steam called Cooter Game? Is that what this is supposed to be? I don't know what the umlaut over an O or the accent over an O means. Regardless, it looks like it's just an RPG Maker game. I've seen a pretty significant reduction on RPG Maker games. English language not supported. This is only Hungarian. So, I don't know, maybe Steam is also rejecting RPG Maker games? Would be kind of surprising that people wouldn't be complaining about it. Let's see.
Awaken my children.
More people need to complain about everything, frankly. Alright. I think we've got this high enough to win. So we need one more priest victory. TechRaptor has an article, Scythe, The Rise of Fenris Review -superb. So apparently maybe they love this game. I have not heard of what this game is because it's not a video game. Alright. No wonder. They give it a 10 out of 10, 10.0
The light shall bring victory.
Review. So I guess if you're looking to play a board game of some sort, that might be one to look at. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article, GameStop Italy leaks details about Mortal Kombat 11. There's quite a few stories right now, I guess, about fighting games, because I believe it's Street Fighter is going to have in-game ads to let you buy currency, to buy microtransactions. It's just incredibly insane and greedy. And Mortal Kombat has not been the greatest on PC or the greatest in kind of a while. Like Mortal Kombat X or 10 wasn't the greatest of games. It had microtransactions in it too. I think the more I think about it, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter are not the games that I would want to actually cover if I was ever to cover fighting games. I think I'm gonna go for something closer to either a Blaze Blue or possibly some of the other games, some of the secondary games that have a little less recognizability to them, but aren't also now tainted with their own success. Let's see. What is the article? I'm trying to read here. The leak says the game Mortal Kombat 11 will have new graphics engine with more gory and bloody scenes than ever, a new customization system with never seen clothes, accessory, and movesets, new fatalities, and a new gore tech system to make the executions more brutal, a strong multiplayer component completely esports oriented. I don't know if it needs to be completely esports oriented, because well, if you just want to play online with random people, customization system, daily news, ever-changing rewards, and improved matchmaking. Improved matchmaking, of course, being the thing always promised in every single game and never really delivered on. Additional content, the premium edition includes a steel case and the combat pass, which is 6 characters and 6 battle passes. Which, if there's 6 battle passes, I'm kind of assume that means that you will not be allowed to enter some form of online competition without buying a battle pass, kind of like Arena and Hearthstone. Like, honestly, I don't even know if it wouldn't be better just to do Injustice as the fighting series. Like Injustice 1, Injustice 2, you're done. There's no more games at the moment that you even have to deal with or think about.
You are the Shadow's puppet.
Alright, let's hit this. Hit this. Hit this. And I've kind of won. If this guy stays alive next turn, I've won. Next we have a game on Steam called The Great Emu War. I can already tell that there's a lot of polish happening here. I'm about to lose, so let's show off my loss. See, that's so ridiculous. It just goes to show how little I pay attention that I was saying, oh, I've got this, I'm gonna win, and my life was so low that no, I wasn't. Anyways, back to this game, The Great Emu War. It's tagged action. It might be just a racing game.
Anduin versus Rexar.
I heard of some kind of war where it was like the Great Emu War or something, and between the British Army and emus trying to eliminate the emus, and they couldn't do it, so they actually lost. This game is free, though, English only. It says it's local multiplayer only, though, so even if this is a great game, you're going to have to convince some other people to install it and play it with you. On a couch co-op scenario, so it's missing the elements that would make it playable for most people, or at least a significant amount of people. Oh, this game reminded me that Epic has decided to no longer support the Infinity Blade series. So that's kind of insane, because the Infinity Blade series is like the only good video game, like high quality AAA video games I've seen ever made for cell phones, iPhones and such. And if Epic is just saying, well, we're not supporting that anymore, and we're just not gonna let you even be able to play your games anymore, which was also, in part, that's Apple's fault for not supporting older software. It's pretty ridiculous. And so, yeah, I don't even know what you do there. It basically, I think, boils down to, if you own Infinity Blade, you probably can't ever... You probably at some point need to disconnect your cell phone that has Infinity Blade 1, 2, and 3 installed from the internet completely, and never update the game and never update the operating system. And maybe, just maybe, you could still play those games. But maybe not even then, because you might have to have somebody fully crack out some part of the game if it's calling home and checking against some server to see if you can play the game or not. I think for Epic to be so flippant is kind of unwise. A picture can very well be painted here. Epic got very lucky with Fortnite, that's undeniable. They've been very successful with Fortnite. They've been riding Fortnite's success in a good way and continuing to improve and create a decent product. But that's kind of all that they've done. Like, Shadow Complex is great and all, but there's kind of nothing else. So, Unreal was a really long time ago. Modern Epic hasn't had any breakout tentpole hits besides Fortnite. Fortnite won't be a tentpole hit forever. They need to double down on the properties they have or create new properties, not lose the ones that they already have. So I would have had them, I would have gone the other direction, and I would have had them make an Infinity Blade AAA game coming to PC and consoles, not cancel the Infinity Blade series. I would have them make a Shadow Complex 2 because they have that license. I would have them working on 2 or 3 other intellectual properties in development. I would have something in the Unreal Tournament universe, even if it's just a random character that everybody likes. Let's try Token Shaman for a second. Like, you would want to do something. The idea that they're only into doing the Epic storefront right now and Fortnite is putting all your eggs in 2 baskets, basically. But whatever, we have this game on Steam called Blades and Sorcery, which is a VR game. It's very bloody. You pick up these swords and you stab people, and you can like charge the swords with magical power as you stab them. It looks kind of good though, so I don't know, I'll put it on the fall list, but it is a VR game. It's $19.99 and it's early access. I don't know how you turn a VR game though into a fantasy sword and shield type game and make it long enough and interesting enough. Play with this. There we go. Next we have a game on Steam called Desert Child. It's tagged as an RPG action sci-fi game. Looks more like a shoot 'em up game or a side-scrolling shooter. Like, how much of this is a cutscene that I'm seeing and how much of this is actual gameplay? Seems like it might be half adventure, half jet bike. This doesn't look terrible. It's $11.99. Looks a little unique, so maybe I'll put it on the fall list and we'll see what the reviews say, if any reviews come out. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article. Sledgehammer Games co-founder Glenn Schofield, that's S-C-H-O-F-I-E-L-D, has left Activision. Sledgehammer Games co-founder Glenn Schofield has left Activision after almost a decade to, quote, try something new. So this is yet another high-level employee leaving Activision Blizzard. Now, perhaps Glenn Schofield was part of the problem since he was working with Activision and not Blizzard, but who knows? Like, it could be that Activision Blizzard isn't just a spiral in general, with talent leaving like left and right and people who are staying doubling down on their bad ideas. Any of those things could be the case. Alright. This. And keep attacking. And let's see. Breaking the news on Twitter, Sheffield explained that he had a great run at the company working on 3 Call of Duty titles, including Modern Warfare, Advanced Warfare, and World War II. He felt it was time to move on. So maybe, I mean, you could pretty easily take this that Call of Duty did not succeed well, and so he was kindly asked to leave the company. I'm actually surprised that worked. That was more damage than I thought it would be. So that's one daily challenge done. I guess theoretically I don't need to do this final challenge with the Priest and Warlock, but I want to do it, frankly. Let's try Zoo Warlock. At the time, Sheffield said he was leaving the studio to explore new game ideas for Activision, but has now chosen to leave the publisher for good. Oh no, I skipped a part. This news might come to a surprise given that only a few months since Sheffield announced that he'd be departing Sledgehammer to take on new executive duties within Activision. So he left Sledgehammer Games to work directly in Activision. He's now leaving Activision completely. So he's getting shuffled around. I don't know if he was perhaps aiming for a CEO role or a seat on the board or something. Let's see. As for his next project, Sheffield says he's keen to work on something, quote, exciting in a brief interview with GameSpot. He claimed he still has a, quote, couple of good games left in him. So yeah, maybe he thought he could make some changes or get some power by moving directly into Activision, and found that wasn't the case. Next we have a game on Steam called Kingdom 2 Crowns. Now, I'm fairly certain that there was a game called Kingdom already. Is this from the same developer? Not sure I really liked the idea of the Kingdom game. Seemed like it was kind of a tower defense-y sort of game. But, let's see. What has he made? He's made Kingdom 2 Crowns, Kingdom Classic, Kingdom New Lands, and Kingdom 2 Crowns OST. So, I don't think any of these games are particularly that old. Let's see, Kingdom Classic is 2016, so just a couple of years. I'll put it on the follow list. Seems like people like it.
Chill out.
Steam has Prey Typhoon Hunter available. This is DLC for Prey. I think you may even need the single player DLC Moon Crash. Apparently multiplayer for the VR mode will be available in 2019. The thing here is it's very mixed reviews, and I already looked at some of these reviews. Basically complaints of it just being pretty bare bones. It's like a BioShock 2 style of multiplayer that just didn't really need to exist. I suppose I'll put it on the follow list because by the time I buy Prey, it'll be some Game of the Year edition where I'll get it anyways. Speaking of Game of the Year editions, the Neo game, is that the name of it? No, not Neo. Nier Automata is getting a Game of the Year edition in Japan at least, so it probably will come to the West. One would hope that it comes to the PC. One would hope that in that Game of the Year edition there are some bugs and patches applied to the PC version, and at that same time similar patch would be released for the original version. But
Your magic shall not save.
Platinum Games and the publisher, I don't know who it was that published Nier Automata, they may not. Japanese companies and publishing on PC is kind of this new thing for everybody, so I'm not 100% certain that they've gotten the message that they actually need to support the customer.
Free me!
Or support the product they sell. Actually, that's the exact next story from Gematsu. Nier Automata Game of the Year Yorha Edition, YORHA, which that's like one of the organizations in the game, has been announced for the PS4 and PC. Complete edition out February 2019.
Smart moves, I concede.
Let's see. The things in the Game of the Year edition is the main game of Nier Automata, the DLC that is 3C 1D 119440927. That's the name of the DLC apparently, and bonus content including an accessory machine mask, a pod model called Grimoire Weiss, a pod skin called Cardboard, Retro Red, and Retro Green. So those are 3 pod skins. And then the PlayStation 4 only version gets some more pod skin exclusives, and the PC only version gets a Valve accessory and 2 new wallpapers. Seems like the PlayStation 4 version is getting a lot more. Now, that doesn't... It feels like there might be some mods or some other like skins out there that aren't getting added into this Game of the Year edition, but I don't know. Like, since I'm not familiar with it, maybe not. It could be that there's just a lot of mods out there to put different outfits on Nier. Anyways, that's the last bit of news that we can cover in this hour. We're done with the Americas account, so we can switch over to the European account. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below, and if you want to support me, you can support me via Patreon or friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.